When we were looking for locations, we were looking for locations that looked like they had been carved by water for obvious reasons. So one of the places we looked at was Washington State. Much of central Washington was actually carved out by a massive flood after the Ice Age. And so that gave us kind of the best look that we were hoping for.
I kept telling the entire team, I was like, this was the perfect location to have this. And I've traveled all over America. It just really was an amazing place to have it. It was a great choice.
The how it looks is important, but you also have to look for some other things, like what type of infrastructure is there around it? What about electricity? What about places for everyone to stay? We had a pretty large crew and cast on this, and so we had to think about all those things as we were looking for locations. So there were several times we found places that we thought, oh, this would be incredible to be able to film here, but just weren't going to work out. And so we had to take all that into account when we were kind of deciding on a location to actually film. One of the locations that we were planning to go look at was Hanford Reach, because it's this big wildlife area. It's, has not a lot of buildings or power lines or any of that kind of stuff that you have to avoid when you're trying to film something that's a period piece. And so because of that, we went to look just at the landscape as a possibility for the homestead, like where the family would be building kind of a place to settle down for a while. But while we were there, I had kind of looked on Google Earth and had seen these kind of cliffs, these white cliffs that are on the north side of the Columbia River there. And so we drove, several miles out, and then we went hiking. And as we hiked along the top of those cliffs, I had seen pictures that people had shared of these sand dunes, but we didn't really know what to expect.
We went out into this desertous area with these rolling hills and all these sagebrush and everything. And then what seemed out of context in the middle of that is this sand dune that you couldn't get any idea of scale of that thing. You just see a sand dune in the middle of nowhere. And then the closer you get to it, the more you're looking up until you realize this thing is huge. This is a gigantic sand dune with a couple of little ones off to the side. And wind blowing. I mean, we made footprints and the wind was almost blowing them completely away within minutes. And then when you get to the other side of the sand dune, it's like a totally different planet. It was absolutely incredible.
And so what we wanted to show was this world that they now live in has a lot of unique features that they have maybe never come across before. And so they're kind of discovering all of these different new environments that they have to learn how to live in. And so that sand dune is kind of a representation of kind of this harsher new world that they find themselves in.